Hello, everyone. Welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World, brought to you by DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com and Disboards.com. I am your host, Rhino Clavin. In this week's episode, we are going to be doing the best things about Pirates of the Caribbean. We tried this once with the Haunted Mansion. People seem to enjoy it, so we thought we'd go through and tell you what the best parts about this other classic Disney attraction are. And to help me with these... I don't know what that accent is with this conversation is Mr. Corey Fiascanaro.
Yo-ho,
Denny,
yo-ho.
Oh, sorry. Ooh, what an intro.
My goodness.
Okay, Denny Sunderly.
Hi there.
And Mr. Craig Williams, the pirate that makes it all happen. Oh my gosh, that works today.
It usually only works for Disney Cruise Line material and pirate material and Simpsons material. So
yeah. There we go.
Wow.
Perfect. All right. So this list is in no particular order. It's all what we decided as a group, and I think there was a general consensus that one of the best things about Pirates of the Caribbean in Walt Disney World is that we have a holiday overlay.
Yeah.
That we've done a couple times now. I particularly enjoyed the time I saw it. I liked when they had the actors that were in the queue. So when you go through our queue, like the dungeons area, they had the people in there that were kind of interacting with you. And it was like, it added a fun, I don't want to say spooky, but I want to say like, ooh, it made me nervous. Like you're the prisoners, and stuff. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And before I had moved here, I hadn't done any of the after hours parties before, like Mickey's Not So Scary, Mickey's Very Merry. Hadn't done them before. I had just done, extra magic hours for staying at the resort. So the Villains After Hour Party was one of the first after hours events I had attended, and that was with you guys. And that was the most memorable thing from that event. And I thought it was so cool to see not only the real-life actors inside the queue, but then to see the real-life actors inside the ride.
Yes.
Absolutely blew my mind. Yeah. I didn't even do research before to know that was something that was going to happen, and it just surprised me, and I thought it was the coolest.
Yeah, anything that really pluses the attraction and the experience. Disney pluses. But anything that really boosts that experience on the ride is fantastic. So the pirate being on the bridge, the overlook during the attraction, and you just don't know what he's going to say or who he's going to point out. It kind of adds a little bit of suspense.
It was Barbossa during the villain event, right? Or it was Gunpowder Pete during the holiday, and then I think during Villains Villains After Hours, it was supposed to be Barbossa. But
cool.
Yeah, I think it's just a nice little added extra element. I wish they had more actors throughout it. So hopefully someday maybe that's a thing that could happen. But it's nice to know that there's the potential for that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think
it would not be on my best list, so I'm not,
I know you didn't like it, but
I hate them.
Pipe down, Craig.
That's okay. This is going to be a very divisive series, these two, because Craig had some on his worst that I think were best, but I will get to it. But I think while I did just mention it, I do believe that the queue is one of the best parts of our attraction. I think it's really... I kind of love how when you walk up and it just feels like you're all of a sudden transforming, going into this like lair. I don't want to say lair, castle.
Yeah, you're going into a Spanish style fort. Yeah. And the awesome thing, even though now it's one side is for anyone with Fast Pass Plus and the other one's the regular. Back in the day, it's you had your basically your two options for it, and the left side is it takes the soldiers route and it takes the soldiers approach. So you're seeing more of like if you were one of the soldiers who is stationed there at the fort, and then the right side is the more pirates heavy side to it. And so I love that they not only did they take this queue that didn't need to be special back in 1971, it didn't. Back then, it didn't need to be anything amazing, or did it debut a couple of years after the park? 73, yeah. Thank you. So it didn't need to be anything amazing, but they went that route, and it's now like it's that first level of immersive queue that now when you open an attraction, it's like this is, if you don't have an immersive queue to it, chances are it's like just a boring spin ride or something very plain. But if it's the next level of an attraction, then it's going to have an immersive queue to it. So
You're right.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's dark and it's musty and just all of a sudden it just becomes you've stepped into another world. And my favorite part of the queue, if you go to the fast pass side, so over to the right, so the pirates side from what you're saying, Craig, are the two skeletons that are playing chess who have gotten to checkmate. And of course, they're just sitting there looking at the board and there's nothing happening because they're at checkmate.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially when you're going from that Florida humidity and a really hot day and it starts to just dim and it gets cooler. And like you said, it's very transportive. But I think there's also something to be said about what this attraction smells like as well. I know it is a, forgive me, I haven't talked about candles yet. It is a magic candle company made a candle that was like, pirates. And, I know Pete has always told a story about like when he and John had first moved here, they took kind of a big glass of water out of the sink and they were like, this smells like, what does this smell like? And they're like, it smells like Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's kind of only gotten enhanced over the years too.
Yes. So they added the extra scent that I absolutely love, and I definitely think it's an upgrade. But even before that, and even without that, just the smell of Disney water, and like I've heard people deny that it's a thing, and they're like, "Oh, it's just water," and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's a Disney dark water ride which has bromine, which is a very subtle, distinct scent that I am in love with." So even before they added that extra, because they pump out a signature scent now, but even before that, that Disney dark water bromine scent is something that I can't get enough of.
Yeah. Well, your olfactory senses is the quickest way to your deepest memories in your brain, actually. But so it is an interesting effect. It kind of, it harkens you back to a specific place. It can really like nail you down into that specific place, specific memory, emotion that's attached to it. But I do also really enjoy how they added like the burning smell when you're in the town and stuff. And so I don't know, it's just one of those things where like it could be very subtle. You could go through and think nothing of it, but I think it's just a nice touch. I don't know.
Yeah.
I also now this seems to be one that everybody agreed on here. Is there's many. I wrote the iconography because there are many iconic moments in this attraction, and I think everybody's probably got a favorite. To see. For me, I think Denny and I have the same favorite.
What is it?
Is it the helmsman skeleton? So yeah, that I remember that first skeleton. So you go past, the waterfall, and then you go past the skeletons that you'll see on to your left, and then there's the helmsman skeleton who is is the helmsman, so he's still at the wheel,
steering his sunken pirate ship. And
and there's
the wind, the rain,
wind, and the lightning, and the thunder, and there's another ship off in the distance, and it's just I love that.
It's also the entrance into like it's the part where like the turn in the story is starting to happen.
The tone shifts right there.
Yeah.
And you know what you're in for now.
Well, it leads into another one of your favorite things. It's not on this list, but I understand it leads in. As a kid, I'd be like, here comes that fall.
Oh my
Here comes that drop.
Yeah.
Which now as an adult, I'm like, what was wrong with me as a kid? I was so afraid of that.
Oh, my dad hyped that up and got my little sister and I. Yes, he got us so amped up about this huge drop, and it's all of 7 feet. So,
But it's dark and you can't see it.
Is.
I'll admit it. Like, I'm 29 years old, and when we're about to go to the drop, I put my hand on the seat in front of me.
There you go.
Just brace myself a little bit because I'm a big baby.
Well, that's okay.
What can you do?
What's your favorite moment? Scene?
Probably the jail scene with
the
dog with keys. That's up there. I would have said probably before the overlay with Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie added in, it would have been the first scene after the fall where you come in and the ship is attacking the town. So but that was, because the scenes, it's not just about the visual element to it. Like you've mentioned with the helmsman skeleton, it's about the other elements. And so with that scene where you first come down and you see that ship and the cannons are shooting off on both sides and the water is shooting up in the air and then with the little bit of fog and the what the pirates were screaming and such with it, like it all worked perfectly. I don't care for Barbossa on there yelling. I think it just changed the tone for me. But I love it visually. I just don't get enveloped in it anymore. Whereas, like the dog with the keys, it still is perfect. Yeah. That is Pirates of the Caribbean to me.
Mm-hmm. That's actually my favorite scene too. I have I collect pins, lots of pins. I have about 1,200 pins, and I have a little side collection of just that scene. So just that scene in Pirates, like I have one that's it's like the Fab Five characters in the jail cell, and then Pluto has the keys, and I have another one that's like Tramp has the keys. A bunch of different pins of that scene. So
neat.
Yeah. So and I think this kind of all leads into what I would say is one of probably the best things about the attraction is the music. I like the music too. You know. You can't. You like go on that ride, and the next thing you know, the rest of the day you're like, yo, ho,
yeah. It's a sing along.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it arguably with Disney songs, you know, the top three are Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for me, and Grim Grinning Ghost, which we talked about the last time around, and then It's a Small World, even though that receives more punches usually than it deserves, but Pirate's Life for me is right in there too, and a lot of what it gets right is it does the same kind of thing that Haunted Mansion does, where even though there's other music in the attraction, it tries to keep a lot of the same motifs from the actual song that we know and love. So even when you're not hearing the actual words going along, you're still hearing bits and pieces and a little bit of extra jazziness as well to it too, from, you know, because it's debuting in Disneyland in the late 60s, and that was an iconic time for music and Disney music back then. So something about it, it's just like they captured lightning in a bottle in that time period, and the music is just really perfect.
Well, it's funny because when you were saying your favorite scene is the pirate ship, the first thing I think about it's one of those, I feel like the pirate ship is actually one of those scenes where it kind of all comes together, because you do get that big burst of smell. You know, you have that visual, and that is really where the music, I feel like, really kicks into that pirate adventure sound to it, and it's all there, you know, and you're just it just does something. Like even now, you know, however many times you go on it, you're like, this is cool. You know, you kind of always sit back and are like, you appreciate it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's it. That's our list here of the best things that we think, the top 5 things about Pirates of the Caribbean. That's what I should have said. Not the best top 5 things, however you want to call it that. But that was the overlays it receives, the queue, the smells, the iconography, and the music. You can let us know in the comments below what you think your favorite things, not what you think, what you believe your favorite things are about Pirates of the Caribbean at Walt Disney World, because I would really like to read that. And thank you, everybody, for having this discussion. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you want to see more content like this, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell, and you'll get notified whenever we have videos that we upload here, which is pretty frequently. So thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next time with another episode of the best and worst of Walt Disney World.